Okay, I just about forgot to do this. Get so busy running around grabbing bees that I forget. Here's the first hive I'm going to go through for the class and just try and show you some of the things that's in them. So you normally smoke them. Okay, I don't have my smoker with me right now, so take the inner cover off. And then you start from the very outside frame. You take that out, okay? And then you just pry the frame sideways with your hive tool because usually they're stuck. This one I was just through yesterday, so I know it's not stuck. Okay. I'll wait till I get to something that there is to look at. You just check every frame, just see what's going on. I just took a bunch of bees out of this yesterday, so you won't see as much brood and stuff in it today, but there will be a couple frames. Okay, here's the frame with the queen on it, and these cells, I can't see what you're seeing. These cells are larger, so they're drone cells, and then down around the edges here, it's a smaller cell, which is the worker cell. There's your queen right there. She's got a green dot. She's last year's queen in this hive. Okay, hoping you can see that because I can't see what you can see. So she's laying in these drone cells. I'll maybe try and see if I can zoom in a bit, and if you can see the larvae in there, you should be able to. Anyway, she's laying in that drone, in the drone cells to create drones. Now this is a brood frame. It's full of eggs. And here's a frame that she usually has a bit of drone cone in, but there's also worker brood. So this down here in the corner, that's worker brood. You see how flat, and it's not as shiny as honey. Honey will be very shiny. And then down here in this corner, that's drone brood. See, the cappings are elevated. This side is just, it's hatching out, and she's relaying it with eggs. Okay, and this one has lots of larvae, and you'll see in these cells, in the center is brood, capped brood, but there's a lot of pollen in those cells. So it's multicolored. It's some of it's yellow, some of it's orange, and almost a reddy color. And there's some more pollen there in the cells with nectar rimming it. There's not a lot of nectar right now. So there's a bit of nectar, and I'm actually at this yard. I put out feed every once in a while. Here's a little bit of capped honey on this one. You see how it's a little more shiny than the brood one. Okay? So I just go through them like that, and then I center the frames again. Close it up. Now I'm doing this one because there's also one beside it here. And this one here I have marked because it has disease in it. So I'm going to do some work on it. Not right now, but in the near future I decided to do this video first so I could show you one of the diseases that bees actually get. It's called chalk brood. So you'll see the little, what used to be larvae, and it becomes almost mummified. So that's a disease they get. There's no cure for it. But if you get them strong enough and if you get the bees strong enough, and what I do is if I find something with chalk brood, what I'll do is I'll elevate the hive so there's no dampness getting to it, and then I'll put a screen bottom board under it so there's really good ventilation, and then I'll just let it, and then I'll just let it sit and get really strong, and that way they'll be able to clean it out, and they actually sort of get over it. Another thing I do is replace the queen. I haven't replaced this queen because I just noticed it yesterday, so she's still in here, but I will be pinching her head and putting a different queen in. Here's another frame. This one has nectar and capped honey in it. Okay, there's capped honey on that side. This is a brood frame, so it's dark. Honey frames are usually very light colored, but because this is in the brood chamber, over time it becomes darker. So that frame's probably maybe 3 or 4 years old. There's another frame with pollen in it. It's right full of pollen. Like I say, they don't have a lot of nectar coming in. They're just starting to get a bit of nectar now. This is the 1st of June. Now you see this girl, she has a pretty good laying pattern. Like her pattern's very good. She's one of my queens from, we'll see when we find her if it was from last year or 2 years ago. There's a little bit of chalk brood in this frame, but not much. I'll find one where you can really see it real good. And there's another really nice frame. Like, she really lays nice. She's just ended up with chalk brood, and it's just something that she's not going to get over. There's the queen right here, right there. Got a green dot, so she's last year's queen. Okay. Now I'm just letting this hive get real strong, but I'll get you a piece of chalk brood here and show you exactly what it looks like. So they will clean it out of the cells, and they'll drop it onto the bottom board and then clean it out. So it's just like it's a mummified part of the body. So there's multiple pieces on here. There's a couple more pieces there. Like, it's not something you can usually get them over. This one's not too bad. She might get over it, but there's way better chance of them getting over it if you help them out, ventilate them, and replace the queen. Replacing the queen, by doing that, you're hoping that she gets, trying to zoom this in so I can see if I can find a piece of chalk brood here. So I can't see what you're seeing. I should have had the camera the other way. Okay, so down in these cells, there's one right there. Pretty sure you should be able to see that inside that cell. There was another really good one. There's your queen again. Nice looking queen, and she's has a really good pattern. She's just fallen into a bit of a problem. There's a couple in those holes that are open right there. Don't know if you can see that. I hope you can. I did have one here that you could see really well. This hole right here, there's chalk root in the bottom of that. Anyways, it's sort of a nasty thing that they get, but it really doesn't have much of an effect on them, except the hive becomes weaker, a little weaker, and then you know, eventually it gets really bad if you don't catch it right off the start. And then sometimes the best bet is to just burn some of the brood frames, so the ones that are badly affected, and the hive will still be fine. So that's going through the hive. It's not a big deal. I'll show you the rest of this yard that I'm standing in. It's just mostly mating newts. And I didn't see any drones in there, so I should be going into another one and finding some drones. Let's try one of these nukes here. There are drones and nukes because they come out of big hives. So I'll just see if I can locate one here. There may not be one in here either. See, this is the queen cup that when I graft into a queen cup, and then they hatch into these hives. There's the queen right there. She's very small because she just hatched out not too long ago. Anyways, you try to leave them alone, but I have a problem with needing to go in and see them. Anyways, I'm gonna call that it, and we'll get you some more pictures of drones and stuff in the future. They're just a little bit bigger. You can look them up on the internet. And thank you very much.